This little girl did not deserve that, runaway or not, whether she was with this, adult man or...
She thought all the talk about the wig was just paranoia, but then the footage dropped and her expression said everything. Gossip turned into action, and if fans had already seen this much, what else could be hidden about Celeste's death? New footage has come out exposing David's darkest secret. Listen up, because this breaking video completely changes the narrative. Forget everything you thought you knew about the David case, because this clip shows him not just near the crime scene or tied to the car, but allegedly stealing his dead girlfriend Celeste's wig in the middle of what authorities now call one of the darkest celebrity scandals of the decade. This isn't speculation or fanfiction. It's raw, disturbing, and it changes everything. The most shocking part of this clip, which you'll see later in this story, isn't even the act itself, but what it reveals about the mindset of a rising superstar who once had the world in his hands and now seems to be losing it all. This isn't just about a wig. It's about power, obsession, betrayal, and maybe something even darker. Stay tuned because the bombshells don't stop here. Let's rewind to September 2025, when workers at a Hollywood impound lot made a discovery that would change David's career forever. A Tesla abandoned for 5 days, towed for routine reasons, with a smell so strong it shut down the entire lot. Inside was a body wrapped in plastic, decomposed, and later confirmed to be 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, a teen missing since April 2024. She had been only 13 when she vanished, and by the time she was found, she was 15. Her remains were discovered in the very car registered to rising R&B star David Anthony Burke. Known to the world as David, that single connection to car was enough to pour gasoline on a wildfire. Then came the tattoos, matching ink on the same finger, a detail confirmed by forensic reports and shouted across social media. Fans began connecting dots, pointing to songs like Romantic Homicide, uploaded on September 7, 2020 to the same day Celeste turned 12. Too many coincidences. People said, too many eerie overlaps between his music and her life. Now, with this new footage, those coincidences look like a pattern. This isn't just a random rumor. There are actual clips, live stream evidence, and concert footage where Celeste herself or a girl who looks shockingly like her appears next to David just weeks before her body was found. One viral clip from his Maryland show, August 2025, shows a girl in the balcony wearing a black tube top and long dark hair. And the kicker, she's standing next to David's own brother while David points in her direction, making a half heart.
Girl believed to be Celeste at David's concert in late August has surfaced, and she was also wearing a black tube top at this concert, which is what we know she was wearing when she was found dead in David's trunk based on police reports.
Now think about that for a moment. If that really was Celeste alive in late August, it completely shatters the timeline, because her badly decomposed remains were discovered on September 8th. That would mean either the decomposition sped up under the brutal California heat or something far worse happened behind the scene. And if it wasn't Celeste, it opens up an even darker possibility that David was surrounding himself with her lookalikes, copying the image of a girl who might have already been dead. Either way, it's disturbing. But it doesn't stop there. In this new angle of the footage, released by online sleuths and dissected frame by frame, David is seen clutching something as he moves backstage. Freeze frame it, zoom in, and you see what looks like a wig long, black, eerily similar to the hair Celeste was described as having when she disappeared. Why would he be holding that? Why would he need to take it? Fans and investigators alike are calling it the smoking gun, proof of either a ritualistic obsession or an attempt to cover something up. Some argue it's symbolic, a trophy. Others believe it's practical, a way to destroy evidence. Either way, the act itself drags this whole story out of the realm of coincidence and into something far more sinister. And the reactions? Explosive. Twitch lit up. Even heavyweights like Ludwig and XQC couldn't ignore the connections. Ludwig straight up asked if Jason Lewine had seen the allegations. Jason tried to defend David at first, but then came the hard evidence-matching tattoos, obsessive lyrics, pictures of them together, and XQC dropped the bomb.
He shocked after realizing that D4vd released Romantic Homicide on the same day as Celeste's 12th birthday, with XQC stating, "There's too many coincidences that line up to the point he believed."
Too many coincidences. Too much smoke for there not to be fire. Now stop and think, why should you care? Why does this story matter beyond tabloid headlines and social media chaos? Because it's about more than one artist, one crime, or one scandal. It's about the system that allows young fans to be pulled into dangerous relationships with powerful figures. It's about the dark intersection of art and reality, where lyrics about violence suddenly echo real life. And it's about accountability in an industry that too often looks the other way until it's too late. For Celeste's family, this isn't a spectacle, it's grief. For the fans who once saw David as the voice of their generation, it's betrayal. And for the music world, it's a wake-up call. How close can art mirror life before it stops being art and becomes confession? Take his breakthrough track Romantic Homicide. On paper, it's a heartbreak anthem, a moody lo-fi ballad about betrayal and loss. But look deeper. The upload date September 7th, 2020 to the exact day Celeste turned 12 years old. What once looked like coincidence now feels calculated. Too many coincidences, too many parallels. And when you stack that against the body found in his Tesla, the matching tattoos, the supposed relationship confirmed by her mother, the dots start connecting themselves. But here's the most sinister layer: the deleted streams. Clips have surfaced showing David and Celeste on live streams nervously telling moderators to wipe the evidence.
Mods, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too?
What this clip tells me here, as well as all the other pictures that I've seen, is that Celeste had a place to stay, right? Somebody was harboring her. David was around, clearly. There were people that were...
Think about that: a missing 13-year-old later confirmed dead, actively asking to erase her digital trail while sitting right next to David. Investigators believe this wasn't an accident, but an intentional effort to keep her location hidden. And if David knew about her runaway status, as commentary suggests, then he wasn't just hanging out with a fan, he was harboring a child wanted by her family. That's not just disturbing, it's incriminating. The fallout was immediate. On September 17th, 2025, the night he was supposed to be performing for a sold-out Seattle crowd, David canceled at the last minute. Fans were confused at first until the truth began to trickle out. Then the cancellations spread. San Francisco, Los Angeles, even international dates in Europe were scrapped. Ticketmaster emails promised refunds, but no refund could pay back the betrayal his fans felt. And it didn't stop there. The Grammy Museum, a stage that would have cemented him as a rising icon, pulled his name from its site. Interscope Records quietly halted promotion, and even the deluxe edition of his debut album Withered was shelved indefinitely. Brands like Crocs, Hollister, and others erased him from campaigns overnight. David wasn't just losing shows, he was losing his future. And here's the emotional punch: Celeste's family, already shattered by her disappearance, now had to face the grim reality of her death. Her mother said she had long feared her daughter's boyfriend named David might be involved, and when she heard about the Tesla discovery, she instantly suspected it was her little girl. Imagine that: a mother watching the world debate whether her daughter's life was just coincidences in an artist's lyrics. A mother holding funerals instead of birthday parties, while hashtags like #Justice for Celeste trend worldwide. This isn't a scandal, it's a tragedy. Still, the internet did what it always does: turn grief into theories. One viral post claimed Celeste was spotted at a concert in Maryland on August 23rd or 24th, 2025, barely 2 weeks before her body was found. Footage showed a girl in a black tube top with the same hair and build standing in the balcony right next to David's brother.
Standing next to is also David's brother, which raises even more questions. Now, the timing here is very important because the concert was about 12 days before David's abandoned Tesla was towed from the Hollywood Hills area.
If it was her, then the entire timeline collapses because experts say her body would have had to be dead for longer than 12 days and less, of course. The California heat somehow accelerated decomposition. Some believe that's possible, while others say the sighting was debunked. TMZ even updated their report claiming it wasn't her. But that only raises more questions. If it wasn't Celeste, why was David surrounding himself with someone who looked just like her? Why was he pointing and making a half-heart gesture toward the balcony? Fans argue it's either obsession or ritual. Either way, it's dark. Meanwhile, police weren't sleeping on this. On September 18, 2025, LAPD raided a Hollywood Hills home rented by David's manager. Detectives scoured the property for over 12 hours, using luminol to search for blood and seizing electronics that could hold damning digital evidence. David, facing a $2,000 a month lease, broke it immediately after the raid and vanished from the property. So what were they looking for? Sources say investigators believe Celeste may have been staying there while missing a runaway, clothed and sheltered, maybe even living alongside David before her final days. And if that's true, then this wasn't just negligence. It was harboring and possibly hiding a child. But let's zoom out, because this isn't just about David. It's about the system, how an industry built on youth, fandom, and obsession can create the perfect storm for abuse. An artist barely out of his teens, a girl barely into hers, and a culture that turns every dark lyric into a prophecy. Celeste wasn't just a victim of one man. She was a victim of a machine that glamorizes broken love, toxic passion, and blurred lines. And the wig, that piece of evidence, was more than just hair. It became a symbol of how the line between art and reality twisted until a young life was lost. The bloody shirt, the broken silence, and the wig that shattered his career. Let's lock in on the detail that flipped this story from bizarre to terrifying: the wig. When that backstage angle surfaced, showing David holding what looked like Celeste's wig, it wasn't just gossip fuel, it was the first physical clue tying his hands to her image even after her death. Investigators already believed she had been with him in her final days, but the wig showed possession, not just connection. And in criminal cases, possession can mean control. From the start, the timeline around Celeste's disappearance was suspicious. She vanished in April 2024, and her mother later confirmed she had a boyfriend named David. At the time, nobody connected the dots. But when her body was discovered in September 2025 inside David's impounded Tesla, the world realized she had been gone nearly 17 months. The Tesla itself told a story. Reports say the car had been abandoned near David's Hollywood Hills home for 5 days before police finally towed it. A ticket was issued, neighbors complained of the smell, and when workers at the impound lot opened the trunk, they found Celeste wrapped in plastic, badly decomposed. That decomposition matters. It meant she had been dead for weeks, maybe longer, which is why the wig sighting matters so much. It could explain how rumors of her being alive into late August spread while her body was already breaking down. Then came the raid. On September 18, 2025, LAPD executed a search warrant on a Hollywood Hills property tied to David's team. According to TMZ, detectives were looking for blood, clothing, and personal items that could prove Celeste had been there while she was missing. They left with bags of seized evidence, including textiles and electronics. Neighbors told reporters the search lasted more than 12 hours, with luminol sprayed across the floors and walls. What investigators wanted to know wasn't just whether she had been there, but how long she had stayed and who else knew. Buried in the reports was one chilling detail: a bloody shirt was pulled from the house and logged as evidence. Police didn't release whose blood it was, but when paired with the wig footage, the picture grew sharper. The wig suggested possession. The shirt hinted at violence. Meanwhile, David's silence was deafening, but the internet didn't stay quiet. Twitch streams turned into courtroom debates. Ludwig brought on Jason Lean, one of David's closest collaborators, and pressed him about whether he'd seen the allegations. Jason tried to brush them off as wild speculation, but Ludwig wouldn't let it go. He pulled up tattoo comparisons, laid out the timeline of Celeste's disappearance, and when the wig footage surfaced, Jason had no answer. Fans clipped the stream and spread it like wildfire. The key moment wasn't Jason's defense, it was his hesitation. Too many, that hesitation looked like guilt by association. And then came the merch pull. Tour dates had already been falling like dominoes, with AKSS emailing fans about cancellations in San Francisco and Los Angeles, but it went beyond tickets. Fans noticed his official merch store suddenly went dark. Hoodies, vinyls, posters gone. Insiders later confirmed vendors were instructed to stop sales immediately. The wig footage was the breaking point. You can't sell merchandise for a man accused of stealing his dead girlfriend's wig during a murder investigation without looking complicit. For brands, it wasn't about morality, it was survival. Crocs, Hollister, and other partners quickly erased his name, knowing backlash would destroy their reputations if they didn't. And while corporations scrambled, Celeste's family was grieving. Her mother told reporters she always suspected her daughter's boyfriend, David, was bad news, but never imagined it would end like this. In Lake Elsinore, the community gathered for vigils, holding candles beneath posters that once begged for her safe return. A GoFund was launched to cover her funeral expenses, which took place on October 4, 2025. To them, the wig wasn't evidence, it was cruelty. Proof that even in death, Celeste's image was manipulated and treated like property. And here's where the psychology gets dark. Multiple outlets reported Celeste had used fake IDs, leading some of David's friends to believe she was older. The Times of India wrote that his circle thought she was 19, only to be shocked when police revealed she was just 14 when they started dating. If wigs and fake IDs were tools in that deception, then David wasn't just obsessed, he was actively crafting an identity for her, one that blurred her real age. her real self, and her real life. The wig became part of that disguise, and when she died, he held onto it as if holding onto the version of her he invented. That's why the wig matters so much. It's not just fabric and fibers, it's a symbol of control, obsession, and erasure. In the eyes of investigators, it ties him to her physically. In the eyes of fans, it makes his dark lyrics look like confessions. And in the eyes of her family, it's one more way their daughter's life was stolen. The question now isn't whether David took the wig. The footage makes that clear. The question is why. Was it a trophy, a cover-up, or the final piece in a fantasy he had been constructing since Celeste was alive? Whatever the reason, the fallout crushed his career. The first domino was his tour. Fans who bought tickets for his San Francisco and Los Angeles shows received emails from AXS saying the events were canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. One fan read the cancellation notice aloud on YouTube, their voice breaking as they realized the man they defended online wasn't just skipping a performance. He was disappearing from the stage entirely. That same weekend, his US dates were erased from Ticketmaster's listings. Europe and Asia stayed live for a few days, then quietly vanished too. The final nail came when the Grammy Museum, where he had been slated for an intimate showcase meant to crown him as a serious artist, pulled his name from the calendar overnight. Then came the music blackout. Interscope, the label that had invested heavily in his debut album Withered, suddenly froze all promotion. The deluxe edition, which insiders said had already gone into production, was quietly pulled. Billboard noted the deluxe was scrubbed from release schedules, and radio stations that once had him on heavy rotation began swapping him out mid-program. Spotify stats revealed something unusual. While plays of Romantic Homicide and Here With Me spiked from morbid curiosity, David's artist page lost over 500,000 monthly listeners in less than a week. Fans weren't just streaming less, they were mass unfollowing him as a way to send a message. Inside his fandom, everything collapsed. On Reddit, the largest David community locked itself down, with moderators posting a sticky note saying conspiracy content would no longer be allowed. Within 48 hours, the sub was overrun with screenshots linking him to Celeste, forcing mods to shut it down entirely. Stan accounts on Twitter and Instagram, once filled with edits of his videos, either rebranded or vanished overnight. The tipping point came when Fortnite streamer Clicks, one of David's biggest collaborators, unfollowed him live on stream. That single move sent shockwaves across the internet. If even his gaming circle was cutting ties, defenders had no ground left. Meanwhile, Twitch debates kept the fire burning. Ludwig's tense exchange with Jason Lewine became one of the most dissected moments of the saga. Jason, who had produced tracks with David early on, tried to downplay the allegations as exaggerated, but Ludwig pushed. "Have you seen the tattoo comparisons? Have you seen the wig clip?" Jason stumbled, dodged, then went silent. That silence said everything. Chat exploded with accusations, and clips of his hesitation turned into viral memes. Freeze framed with captions like, "When you realize your boy might actually be guilty." Jason later tried to clarify on his own.